What's going on, y'all? Sean, back to basics fitness with Sean here. The day after Christmas. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Hopefully, you're getting rest or you've gotten rest. I just wanted to pop on here because there's some stuff that was on my heart this morning. Like the title of this, which is "If you don't do it, no one else will." If you don't take care of it being your health, then no one else will. It's something that's been really kind of the theme really of what I do, even why I started this channel. But I kind of want to talk about it. Just kind of want to be candid, real, and hope. Okay, so I just refreshed this, so hopefully my connection is okay now. But anyway, I just known a lot of people who've gotten caught in the medical system and then been worse as a result. Not saying that that's what always happens, but it's what I've seen happen a lot, and I have a feeling that a lot of people have, and it gives me some real reservations about it all. Um, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to the doctor or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is a lot of times it seems like the best thing that you and I can do for our health is to do our very best to stay out of the system, you know, which being honest is not really any novel idea because we've been the ones in charge of our health from the very beginning. At some point, I believe that we began to kind of see like health is something that is totally in the hands of the doctor. Like just like you go to get your car serviced by the car service folks, or you go to um you go to the grocery store to get your food, you go here to do this, then you go to the clinic to get your health. But it's like it's not that obviously is not really working. I believe really what it should be and perhaps what it used to be is that the doctor used to be the person that you went to when something else occurred, but for the most part, you just did your thing. And people had, different kind of remedies. I think about stuff my mom said that my grandparents would do with her. Um, you know, like when it to help get over an illness or like, some of the stuff was a little weird. Like my mom said she skinned her knee and then they put, my granddad poured some gasoline on it or something like that. And I think that was to help to prevent infection. Little weird, but I mean she was good. But anyhow, it really seems like the best thing you can do a lot of times is stay out of the system. So like I mean, I've known many people. I've known many people who they got caught up in the system and it didn't work for them. Okay. Or they got worse as a result rather than getting better. Because here's the deal. A lot of what the medical system, a lot of the way that they treat illness doesn't really address why the illness showed up in the first place. Okay. Like so for example, um and this stuff been hitting close to home, but like for example, if you're dealing with pre-diabetes, to change the way you eat. So it may not necessarily. I don't, I can't speak for whatever every doctor says. Some are different than others, but it might be like you need to change the way that you eat. Because your blood sugar is high, and this can develop into full blown type 2 diabetes and whatnot. And so, but then whenever somebody has full blown diabetes, then the next step is to begin putting on medication. You know, which will be a lot of times something that'll increase the production of insulin or other different kind of things, like that affect the kind of get that blood sugar down or something like that in an artificial way. Um, but the thing is though, the whole reason why a lot of that stuff shows up in the first place is because in a lot of cases, probably most cases, it's diet related. It just is. When you look at the way that we eat, and it's so unnatural, like in particular, ultra processed foods put such a load on the body. They put such a load on the pancreas and stuff like that, where your blood sugar is just shooting up, and then your body will bring it back down, and shooting up, and your body will bring blood sugar levels back down. and then your body kind of starts not really functioning as well because then become resistant to your own insulin and starts not working as well because you're out constantly flooding your body with insulin. You're steady gaining fat because your body is steady producing insulin. And then you kind of start to have these things where your body's set point, it becomes harder to lose weight because your body kind of starts to optimize for that because it's been doing that for so long. But again, a lot of the way that this stuff is actually treated medically is not it doesn't really solve anything. It doesn't. And granted, there perhaps there is a value for sure of, like having like some different kind of medical solutions in the acute sense. And what I mean is, if somebody comes to the doctor, the hospital, and they have dangerously high levels of blood sugar, like that'll make them near comatose, then it's very valuable to have like a medical intervention to save that person's life. But long term, it's like how helpful is it to just kind of like if it's something that is, like I say, a lot of time, probably most of the time, caused by diet. How helpful is it just to have medications and stuff that'll just kind of help you to continue to not really have your body running at its best because it's not receiving what it needs. So I used to work with a guy, an older gentleman. This is several years ago now, and I remember I would hear him and another coworker talking because both of them dealt with diabetes. And this particular guy, he was kind of like talking to the other guy about this new medication that the doctor put him on. He was like, it's great. It's like I can they put me on something that kind of like regulates my sugar better so I can eat whatever I want. And I can, and he was just kind of bragging about how he was going to do this and do that and sweets and this and that. And I was like cringing cuz I was like, one, like I guess I don't think he really understands like what's going on here. Like that is probably the reason for the medication in the first place. And secondly, I wonder if that's something that his doctor talked to him about. But like this stuff really concerns me. Like I say, this is really a lot of the reason why I started this channel, even though it's primarily a fitness channel. I I started this channel because I was so tired of seeing people, especially people very close to me and family, church, all this kind of stuff, who were like dying, who very close to me and family, church, all this kind of stuff, who were like dying or at least being severely uh hurt by issues that are more so caused by the lifestyle of this society that we live in. But they don't realize it because the way it's kind of built, we kind of feel like, okay, you're supposed to go to the doctor. Matter of fact, we even kind of feel like when you get a certain age, you're supposed to be taking medication. You're supposed to kind of start to complain about your back and your hip and your neck and all this kind of stuff. You're supposed to. And there is no supposed to. It's like if you look at like the science, the body is designed to function at a very, very high level for a long time. A long time. It's like I even think about the guy, Dick Van Dyke, who just turned 100 years old, a legend, acting legend. Um, he turned 100 years old and he's still active. I mean, he's not moving like he did back when he was 20, 30. But I mean, come on, man. He just turned 100. He's in his right mind. He still kind of dances a little bit and sings and stuff. The dude is doing well. He's doing well. It's varies of the people that I've seen and know because I like to do research on this stuff. People who are older and they're functioning at a high level, their bodies still look pretty young. Um, you know, but we kind of feel like this is what's supposed to happen, as in, like, when you're supposed to become decrepit. You're supposed to rely on your doctor. You're supposed to, this is just what happens when you're older. But like, says who? Who says that? Who told us that? So that's more of a narrative that we've come to believe because the way I see it, the various research I've done, the society has been shaped. it's been shaped such that this we kind of work in the systems that we have. And a lot of the ways the systems are built is like it's not really helping us. All that said, sometimes you see me wear my shirt that has my motto, if you would, that says my doctor's not responsible for my health. I am. Sometimes, I wear those shirts. And like one thing we really have to understand is that, like I said, is the title of this particular live. If you and I don't actually take our health seriously, then it's a wrap. It's a wrap. That just means we're just gonna kind of go right along with wherever the system takes us. It's like a toy that's being kind of put together in an assembly line. We're just gonna go in the same direction. My mom had this book. It's this lady who was, I think she herself was in the medical field somehow. I can't remember what kind of doctor or whatever she was, but she actually was dealing with some level of she started dealing with some autoimmune disease, I think, and she was feeling really bad, and she was prescribed like prednisone and different other kind of stuff. And then she said she realized at some point, like she knew from her own training that there's like a certain kind of path that people kind of start to take as far as like going through the medical system. Like essentially, whenever they're kind of like headed toward, I mean, it's morbid, it sounds, like headed toward death. Certain medications, certain kind of treatment protocols. And she kind of realized at some point, she's like, hold on a second. I'm in this same kind of pipeline now. She kind of realized based on what she was being prescribed and based on, you know, whatever kind of recommendations and all this kind of stuff, she just kind of realized that she herself was now in this pathway to like getting deeper and deeper into the medical system and all the treatments that weren't going to work and that were going to have their own side effects and all this kind of stuff. And so then she made a very radical change to her own life at that point. Um, and what she did was like fasting, like specifically doing a lot of juice fasting, and she turned her health around. But again, I say all that to say, like, again, if you and I are not the ones who are leading the way with our health, doing the things that only we can do, then it's literally not going to happen. The system, the system is just simply not created to maximize our health. It's not. And then just to be really honest, you know, the fact that it's so much money involved, that often troubles me. It's like you just always have to wonder, okay, so if I'm going to get treatment for something, if I'm going to kind of like try to, find something to help me be healthier, is this really going to be in my favor or is it going to be something that's just going to more so generate profit? I'm just saying, it's a lot of money. It's like even thinking about there's a lot of popularity now of different there's a lot of popularity now of different like the weight loss drugs and stuff like that. If you choose to do that, that's up to you. You have the freedom, the ability to do that. It is what it is. However, you know, there's a lot of money involved in that too. It is. And I'm just saying the root cause is not a lack of medicine. The root cause is a lot of times lifestyle related that like some sort of relation to lifestyle that that kind of is just in line with the way that our society is created. Okay. um you know junk food everywhere, junk food everywhere, from the convenience stores to the fast food places, you know just junk food everywhere, stuff that's just devoid of nutrition, stuff that is very very high in sugar, salt, and all kind of chemicals. Then you couple that with a very sedentary lifestyle, very busy lifestyle, very distracted lifestyle, where we're constantly on devices, and we're not, our relationships. aren't like they used to be 100 years ago. Families maybe not as knitted together, communities not as knitted together, and so it's like a lot of these things that are knocks against our health. And so I want to challenge you. I really want to challenge you to take the helm, to be the captain of your own ship, to be the one who calls the shots as it pertains to your health. Because again, even if you have a great doctor, your doctor can only do so much. Your doctor can recommend things to you, they can prescribe things to you. Um, they can do what they can do. Like I said, your doctor may be a great doctor who really cares and also is well versed in nutrition and kind of healthy lifestyle stuff. But even if they kind of tell you those things, you got to be the one to do it. But the main thing I'm trying to stress is that as a human, this is one thing I always say. Our bodies, we have bodies, right? Our bodies have fundamental needs. They always have had very fundamental needs. You need air. Like I just took a breath. You need air. You need water. You need movement. Like literally, you were made to move. And when you don't move, then your body actually starts to break down to some degree. You need you know, sleep. Okay. Then you have some other needs that are lesser. Well, you need to eat as well. Now, granted, I heard what's the guy's name? Dr. Martin Picard. I think he was interviewed on Human Lab here recently. And he was talking about how most people can survive for a month without food. Now, there's a certain point after you stop eating that you actually really do start to starve. Most people, especially most of us here in America, are very far from starvation. Very far from it. Okay. Um, but you have those needs, you should get outside. That's actually somewhat of a need. You need fresh air, you need good relationships, like good social relationships. People who tend to have, spouses or people who even who tend to have animals and stuff like that tend to live longer because it satisfies that relational need. So there's some fundamental needs you and I have. And the truth is a lot of the ailments and disease that we tend to deal with come from the fact that we go so long without getting our needs met. We go so long, and so that's one thing I really try to stress. That's why I talk about the things I talk about. We have needs, and we need to meet our needs. The doctor, even if he or she is a great doctor, can't meet your needs. You're designed to do that. Okay. So I want to challenge you in 2020 be the year that that you really grab your health. Like this can be it. I'm telling you, this could be it. If you're willing to believe it, first of all, but then also if you're willing to take the actions to support your belief. Okay. So I challenge you, let this be the year. And I mean, I wouldn't even just wait until, I wouldn't even just wait until 2026. You can start now. I challenge you to really determine in yourself that you know what, I'm tired of my health kind of being an issue. I'm tired of it. I realize that I have a whole lot of things that are in my ability to do literally at this very moment. Whether it be eating more vegetables, not eating late, beginning to some exercise program, or to the very least beginning to move your body more, using the stairs instead of using the elevator, walking places that you maybe have gotten used to driving, like close by places at least, parking further away, developing good friendships and relationships with people, different things like that that are clearly and even scientifically proven to be beneficial to your health. This is going to be your year, but you got to determine in that you're going to take the action and that you're actually tired of where you are. Um, and so I want to so I recently talked about my 30-day jumpstart fat loss challenge. Now, I haven't talked a whole lot about fat loss in this live, but losing the reason why losing fat is important is because now fat is a valuable tissue. It's a valuable tissue in the body because it represents what your body has put aside for a time of famine, so to speak. Okay. However, so it's energy. It's literally energy that'll help your body run. The thing is, many of us are in permanent fat gain mode because of the way that we eat and then the way that we do with our bodies. So we're gaining weight, gaining weight, gaining weight. Even when we want to lose, we're gaining because the way that we're conducting, like our eating and our exercise habits, is literally keeping us in fat gain mode. And so it leads to a lot of frustration. It leads to a lot of quitting. The sad truth is that many people are going to go into 2026 and they're going to be motivated at the top of the year. They may reach February and still be doing whatever. But like the truth is, a lot of people are going to make resolutions or commitments or whatever you want to call them that they're going to be in the gym and lose the weight and all this kind of stuff, and they're not going to do it. But what I'm telling you is, this can be your year. This really can be your year if you're willing to believe that and you're willing to take the right actions. Okay. So I put a challenge together. It's based on the things that I've done with other people and with myself. Um, to help people not just simply to lose fat, but to lose it the healthy way. Okay. You can do the program and you can lose the fat. You can. Okay. Your body is not like an anomaly that operates differently than other people's. We're all different, but what I mean is there's nothing that is gonna keep you from losing fat. Like you can. It's just energy. You just have to put your body in the right mode to actually access the fat because your body's going to hold on to it as long as you're kind of like living a certain way, eating a certain way, because it's like, okay, we just need to kind of keep this and add to it because we're getting all this abundance of energy and whatnot, and we're not doing a lot of moving. So, we don't have any need to use it right now. Okay. But in this challenge, I've included eating strategies that will help put you in fat loss mode. That's going to be really the biggest thing. Eating in a certain way to put you in fat loss mode. I have video workouts. So, like, these are video body weight workouts that you can do at home. You can do them at the gym. You can do them at a park, whatever you choose. But they're, little to no equipment for those. And then a basic cardio schedule. Like, this is one made for beginners. um, really to get you into the habit of consistently moving, which is going to be the key for fat loss. It's not even necessarily that you just going out there and you killing it, which I like intense workouts. I do. And I think everybody should do them at some point. But these are to get you consistent, which is the main ingredient for fat burning movement. Okay. Right now, to purchase this is 49. It's $49. But that's only in 2025, up until it becomes 2026. And the reason why I've made it 49 now is because I want to encourage you to go ahead and get started. You go ahead and get started. If you wait, because it's like, oh, we wait and then we're just like, well, I'm just gonna get it in. I'm gonna really get it in between now and then and whatnot. And so that ends up working kind of against you. So like I want to challenge you. Get started. Get started. Okay. You can use that QR code. And then I also have a link that I can share. Um, Give me a second here. I have a link that I'm going to share here right now. Copy that. So this is where you can actually purchase the challenge. So yeah, anyhow, that's all I have today. I just wanted to pop on here because this stuff was on my heart. I thank you for those of you who actually popped in and listened for a bit. I believe this can be a year. I really do, and I really hope it's your year because the time for us to lean on systems that don't really help us to like become getting our best bodies, getting our best health. Our time The time of leaning on other like systems of work is over because we never should have been dependent on those systems to begin with. Starts with us. It starts with us. Like I said, you could literally be on your way today to fat loss and all that kind of stuff. Fat loss, and like I say, most importantly, great health. Because I always tell people, um, fat loss is a side effect of a healthy lifestyle. If you're seeking to lose weight, fat loss is going to be a desirable side effect of that. Okay, meaning that you're pursuing health, and then that means that you're getting rid of excess energy. Other thing I meant to say about fat loss being important is that it's also important to lose extra fat because when you accumulate a whole lot of fat, it can tend to kind of affect your hormones. Yes, stuff like testosterone, estrogen, and whatnot, that, but then also insulin itself, it can make you even more insulin resistant. Extra fat can also have an impact on your joints because of the fact that, the extra poundage puts an extra load on your joints. Excess fat can also be problematic when it comes to inflammation because excess fat can increase inflammation in your body overall. So you want to lose that. Losing fat actually will improve your health, but you want to lose it the healthy way. You want to let your body access the fat, the way that it would. And it really, really will. I'll say this and I'll let it be done. We know about hibernating animals like bears and whatnot. They're known for like right before they go to hibernate, they eat a whole lot of food and they get huge, and then they'll go in their dens and chill for the winter or whatever season. And so they're literally not eating for months. And their bodies will survive off of that excess um energy that they stored up so they can sleep. Okay. And so it kinda is a little similar with us. Now, we're not bears, we don't hibernate, and, we don't really have any need to, like, really gorge because we don't have a state of hibernation or torpor, as they call it, that requires us to just really kinda, like, sleep or hibernate for such a long period of time, to be immobile for so long. But at the same time, the energy concept, like, of them just surviving off of that, it's kinda the same with us. You just got to give your body a reason and a way to access the energy instead of always being in fat game mode. All right, that's all I got. I'm gonna move on and to other things, but I hope this has touched or motivated somebody. Let this be your year, y'all. Let this be your year.